to roll.
Awesome.
Kile Lewis, welcome to the Uncommon Philanthropist.
Well, thank you very much for having me. This is amazing. I love that you've put this together. I think this is a really, really, really good idea. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, I just think philanthropy is something that we're all capable of, and we're not talking about it enough, right? In the public space. You know, we talk about talk about sports, we talk about politics, we talk about entertainment, but philanthropy to me is kind of, it can unify, we can create great results when we come together, and it's really something anybody can do.
Correct. I agree. Well, there's so much bad going on in the world. It's the one thing I feel like I can have control over and make a positive difference.
I know. It's amazing.
As we sit here on election day. So.
I know. Okay. Well, I would love to know just a little bit about you. We're connected in Rotary, and we kind of know each other, but what's your scoop, Kyle?
What's my scoop? I was a fortunate kid. I was born to great parents who, we didn't have tons of wealth, but we had a ton of wealth of love. Mm-hmm. And, I had two parents that people ask me all the time, why do you like to give? I was almost bred to do it. My parents, really? Well, they demonstrated it. I've literally seen my dad take his shirt off his back and give it to someone physically. Wow. And around the holidays, and my parents would never want any recognition around stuff, but they always bought the groceries for someone in front of them around the holidays that looked like they probably needed it. And so it's just something I grew up around.
Dang, that's cool.
Very cool. I'm very fortunate for that.
Yeah. And that's the small percentage of us. I did not grow up in a house like that. My parents were Depression era people.
Right.
And, when you literally had nothing, they just, they didn't have a healthy view about money. And I know that's why, they barely survived at one point in their life, so to give money away was just so foreign to them. So I'm not faulting them at all, but what a blessing to have that modeled in your home as a child.
Well, and my dad, my parents are in their early 80s, and so they're young relative, but my dad didn't have running water or a floor until he was 8. He went to the well, and we were talking recently, and he, I don't think his dad ever made more than $3,000 in any given year. Yeah. And so he understands what it's like to be poor. Yeah. And I was raised a lower middle class kid.
Yeah,
I never missed a meal. I can't say I didn't have to walk uphill both ways in the snow, any of that. But certainly I got taught to be thankful for what you had and give back.
That's so cool. So you grew up in Texas?
I did.
Born in Louisiana. Tell us a little bit about that.
I was born, my dad was working all the time. So he was a bean counter by trade and got into hospital administration.
Did he go to college?
He did. He was the first kid in his family to get a college degree.
Cool.
Yeah, he went to Northwestern Louisiana and then got his master's from LSU. But had to hike hitch to school and all that kind of deal. So, but moved to Texas when I was, I guess, 4th or 5th grade, somewhere in there. And
Tyler, did you say Tyler?
Temple. It's in between Austin and Waco. Small town, but again, I was really fortunate. There was a large medical facility there, and Bell County is one of the richest counties in the state. Random. Yeah. Right. But I had just amazing, for a town of 20,000 people, I got a top-notch education. There were a ton of doctors and attorneys, and so they brought in all these amazing teachers. High school was phenomenal. I was thinking this morning, I've probably got, I look at some of the people that I graduated high school with and where they are today, and they've left a really large mark. It's like, wow, there's a lot of people from a small town that have done really big things. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Very impressive. So it sounds like you got that natural gift of numbers from your dad.
My mom's a retired teacher. Yeah, it's perfect for me to be in the financial services industry. My dad's a CPA. My mom's a teacher. I tell people I teach people how to manage money all the time. It's phenomenal. It's like I was bred to do that. So
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your career.
I am, this year will be 30 years in the financial services career. I spent a little less than half of that working my way up the food chain at a Fortune 50 company. Did pretty well at that, excelled at that. And about 16, 17 years ago now, a friend and I opened our own company called Oxygen Financial and have had a really good run since. I'm very fortunate, very blessed.
Yeah, that's cool. So I really love your brand and kind of the wording about Oxygen Financial.
Yeah, breathe easier. Like, come on, that's really good. No?
It's really good. Did you come up with that?
Ted did, my business partner. Yeah,
But
I think
it's
we
really
came up with a
good.
name in
that's-
Vegas. I don't remember where. We were talking about what we were going to do.
But it's true. It's like, when you gain control over your money, over your finances, it really leads you to freedom and it helps you breathe. I mean, lack of money or lack of managing your money can really be crushing and make it difficult to breathe. So that tag is not a stretch.
No, and the last 5 letters of our name, Oxygen, are XYGen, which is why they're capitalized. And so I believe we were first to market on building a company that was, I'm an X-Gen guy. I'm in my mid-50s. And so we were the first company built to serve that market. So I think we see the world a little different, maybe than our parents did.
Yeah. So. Do you call, are you guys financial advisors, wealth managers? What's kind of the term you use at Oxygen?
We kill the term financial advisor. I don't know what that means anymore. Pretty much anybody can call themselves that. And so our view was people would be a little better off if they treated their family finances like a business. And so you're the CEO of your family finances. We came in and partnered with you as your private CFO.
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah. It makes sense. I mean,
and we all need one.
It was more than just managing money. It's your whole, it's everything about your financial life. Yeah. What you want to accomplish, how you want to go about it. When you graduate high school, everything you own, you could fit in a backpack. Mm-hmm. And then as you kind of traverse through life, that backpack gets bigger, and then you got pod storage units laying around. And if you don't have some methodology of managing that, it's a challenge.
Yeah. So is philanthropy part of the discussion and generous giving? Do you guys do that?
I get asked that question quite often from clients.
Excuse me, Hazel, please.
Hazel's like, oh, he's a good one. He likes to pet.
Hazel Ray.
Hazel wants to play. It is, but I wish I could be more biased around that than I am. My job, it's like investments. I tell folks all the time, my job isn't to make them a more or less aggressive or more or less conservative investor. Mm-hmm. If they're an aggressive investor, my job is to make them a better aggressive investor. And so if they give, my job is to help them give better, where it makes more sense and maybe think about it differently.
So more of a coming alongside.
Coming alongside for sure. But, there's a lot of different ways you can give today, and people that tithe a lot, what they feel or what they sometimes forget is, man, that church kind of gets, or whatever organization they give to, kind of gets used to that. And so if something goes awry and you don't do that anymore, that hurts that organization. So how do you perpetuate that? Or how do you think about that to be longer if it's something you care about? Right. And there's tax law changes that are constantly changing.
Oh gosh, yes.
That make it important to stay on top of. Yeah. Especially with all the IRA rules and all that sort of jazz. Not to go down that path, but it's just a different world we live in today.
So what do you say to someone who thinks they can, just an everyday person who thinks they can manage their finances?
Probably can. I mean, I think there's enough information out there, but I look at it like this, we haven't needed pilots to fly a plane in a minute. What's the likelihood you're getting on a plane without a pilot? I look at it, but probably a better analogy is driving across country. You could do it without a map. Just get in your car and go. Yeah. If you go west, and as you get closer to LA or wherever you're headed out west, you'll start seeing the signs. And retirement isn't much different. The difference is if you work with someone, you're likely going to avoid the roadblocks and get there maybe a little quicker.
Right.
with less anxiety.
And to to rely on an expert, I mean, we navigated without a planner or whatever you call them, a wealth advisor, for a long time. And once we got connected with somebody, I'm sorry, it wasn't you, Kyle.
Where's the love?
Sorry. It's like, it was just, I mean, we were like, oh my gosh, there it is. We have line of sight, because when you're in the working years with your kids, you're just socking the money, socking it away. And then it's like, how do you begin to kind of start to see, when do we start taking it? What do we take? It's very complicated. I don't want to be DIYing that.
It's different. I'm fortunate that I understand it, because I look today and I'm like, man, my life is coming at me fast. 2 little boys, 9 and 11. It's just, man, it's perpetual motion.
Yeah.
I walked out of a meeting to come here and I'm turning around and going, walking right back in another, and that's the rest of my day, And so for folks that are busy like that, I don't know how they would find the time to get educated enough to stay on top of it.
Yeah, for sure.
They can still probably do pretty well.
Yeah. And there's times in your life when you can kind of put it on autopilot, but when you're coasting towards retirement, you better get your ducks in order.
Well, hopefully you're running towards retirement and not coasting.
You know what? I love what I do. I mean, I'm just getting started.
That's awesome. I can't imagine I'll ever retire.
I know. I'm not
What's the fun in that? I'm
a golfer. Yeah.
I'm a stir stuff up guy.
I know. We're going to go out and be serving and helping people connect with philanthropy. So let's talk about the importance of wealth and generosity and how they need to coexist together.
So help me understand, what do you mean when you say that? From what perspective? I think there's some wealthy people that are like, I'm not going to do any philanthropy.
I know.
I think it's a personal decision. I personally want to give back. I love my community. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if we said this on air or if I said it beforehand, but it's one thing I feel like I can affect. There's so much bad going on around us, it seems, right now. I don't know if it's bad. It's just noise.
Yeah.
And it becomes very, very frustrating. And, it just creates angst and stuff I can't control. I can't control the election today. I can go do my vote, but I can't impact that. Right. And I feel like I have control and can impact or at least influence what's going on in my community. Yeah. That's why I have to do it. Otherwise, I'd go crazy. Right. And so for me, it's more that.
You can't strong arm somebody to give and serve, but you can open up that door. I think a lot of people just don't know. They just don't know. They've never been exposed to it. They, and everybody has a cause that they can get behind to support. I mean, it doesn't have to be in a huge, big way, but find something to financially support, to mentor, to advise, to go, plant flowers, or there's a number of ways you can help. And I would challenge that. I think everybody has some capacity to serve in some way.
Without question. I guess the way, and I didn't learn this at home, but somebody said it in I guess my later years in life, and it's really stuck with me, and it's how I view things. You can give time, treasure, or talent. And there aren't a lot of organizations that I'll give all three. Rotary is a great example where I'll give all three.
Yeah.
Some organizations I'll just give money to, and some organizations I'll give time to. Maybe 2 of the 3, but Rotary is the only one where I've really dug in. I thoroughly enjoy and believe what it's doing. To give all 3. And so I agree with you 100%. There were times when I didn't have any money. I was broke.
Yeah.
I worked hard, especially starting this career 30 years ago. I was chuckling this morning. I was like, 'cause thinking about this, it made me reflect a little bit. And I was like, man, I can remember driving back from my granny's house and stopping and praying I had enough change underneath my seat to put enough gas in my car to get back to Dallas. Which was,
yeah.
And I was about an hour. I was about an hour east. Oh, I didn't have any credit. That just tells you what gas prices were 30 years ago, but or a little more than 30 years ago. But no. So I think it doesn't always have to be. I think when you say philanthropy, people immediately gravitate to money.
Right. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be money.
Right. Or they think, I'm not rich. I'm not rich.
Right.
I can't do that.
Right.
It's like the root word of philanthropy is love of humanity.
Oh, really?
It's love of human. It's about love. It's not about money.
That's what is. That like the Latin, whatever?
I read it on Google.
Oh, okay. So it's true. All right. Well, you heard it here, so it must be true.
No,
That's funny. I like that.
Yeah, the roots of that word have that love of humanity in it, and I was like, that's it. You know, we the everyday people are have an ability to be uncommon philanthropists. It's like I just want us to claim that word, and I'm really hoping to build a movement, a nationwide movement where people are like, put down the phone, let's go love and serve on somebody who needs help. And I think Hurricane Helene hitting Asheville so close to Metro Atlanta.
Right.
So many people love that city and go up there often. I'm like, come on, people, go serve, check into, that they have running water, let's go help them get back on their feet.
I believe people want to do that, but they don't always know how. I don't want to talk politics, but but this will give you a sense for where I see where I kind of view things. People think I'm conservative, and I guess I have some conservative tendencies, but I'm more of a libertarian. Mm-hmm. I think that
Steve Beacham said the same thing sitting in that chair. I think a lot of us are kind of.
I think, well, especially our age group. Yeah. I'm fiscally conservative, more socially, whatever. Mm-hmm. You want to marry a rock? I don't understand it, but go for it. I think that I think all the social services and all that. I'm a big believer in giving people a hand up, not a hand out. I think that people are like, oh, if we didn't have all this, we'd have people sleep in the streets. No, we wouldn't. I believe in the better of people. Mm-hmm. I think we would do it better than our government's doing it at far less cost. And so if whatever we can do to make more uncommon philanthropists, I am all for, because I think that's a better way to do it. Yeah. And we saw some of that unfortunately in North Carolina. I mean, the movement of people and private organizations to make stuff happen.
And those nonprofits were there. The former military veterans through Team Rubicon, they were there before the storm even left.
That's phenomenal.
I've been following it closely, and the latest development that I read that I absolutely was like, that is so cool. A busload of Amish came down to build tiny homes.
Oh, I saw that. Isn't that amazing?
And they're like, leave us alone. We don't want any publicity. I'm like, I want to go get that story. And they're building, and they're going to be better homes than any of us could deliver.
What they're probably doing too is they're probably harvesting some of the trees that have fallen and just using those. I mean, who knows how they're doing that?
How cool is that? And they're not just going to do it one time. They're coming again. It's like they have teams lined up. Busload at a time. They'll stay for a week, and then they'll go back and get fresh guys. And
that's amazing. That's pretty cool.
Building homes. That's America right there. That is.
Well, I mean, again, I believe that's unfortunately the media makes us all out to be, bad and this, that, or the other thing, and that we're incapable. We're incapable of managing ourselves, and I just don't believe that to be true.
Yeah.
I think that I believe in the good of people. They just need the opportunity to rise up and not have to rely on other people to do it.
And when you get close to people, your differences kind of really dissolve, especially people in need. It's like my husband and I've been to Asheville twice to serve, and it's like it just doesn't matter. It's go love on your neighbor when somebody needs help. It's as easy as that. It just really gets, I don't know.
I don't remember exactly where I learned it, but I learned a long time ago. If you want to get out of your own problems, go get in someone else's.
That's good.
And so get out of your own way and go help and serve someone else, and suddenly what you're dealing with isn't so bad.
Yeah. Sure.
So it's healing, I guess, to some extent.
Cool. Kyle, do you have a favorite charitable moment that you could share? It could be your own or something you saw your family do, or
favorite charitable moment. No, I don't know.
Rotary?
I love that my kids are excited about. They've jumped in the polar bear plunge for the last 3 or 4 years now, and I think they've collectively probably raised, I don't know, close to 25,000.
No way.
Everything from public safety. They've raised money for the Alpharetta Public Safety Foundation, the Milton Public Safety Foundation. And so they're just. I'm pretty proud of that, and they're excited to do it again this year, and they're trying to get their friends involved.
That's cool.
Yeah, I guess I would probably be proud.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about Rotary, and then we're going to switch gears and talk about Polar Bear Plunge because it's such a cool event. So how did you get connected with Rotary, and what's kind of your reason for being so involved?
My first Rotary, I actually went to Roswell, and I had a client take me, and I enjoyed it. I had the fried chicken.
How long
I had
ago?
the fried chicken. This is probably
good,
9
fried
years
chicken.
ago. It's 8, 9 years ago now. Koki took me. But I thought, man, there is no way I can carve out a Thursday. Maybe it's 10 years ago. There's no way I could carve out a Thursday at lunch every Thursday and make that. And back then they were, attendance was a little more regimented than it is maybe today, which I'm glad that's gone. And then another buddy of mine, Brian Iroff, Ted and I were looking at a building over there, and I started talking to Brian. We met in the parking lot, and that's how we became friends. And then I asked him, I said, hey, man, I found this Rotary thing. You know anything about it? And he goes, yeah, I got an Alpharetta Rotary. And I was like, what? And so a handful of people. I was doing a lot of stuff with the chamber at that point. And so Dan Merkel and a bunch of folks introduced me. And I came in Kirk Driscoll's year, actually. Okay. Karen Nolan was she was the president when I first started visiting, and I got inducted in his year, which was kind of cool because I was president the year he was district governor. So
he was a rock and roll president.
Came full circle. Oh yeah, he's a fireball. Yeah. But I've really, really enjoyed my Rotary experience. I've found it's. I was raised in the church. My parents. We went to Wednesday, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, like 2 or 3 times. There was youth group, this, that, or the other thing. And for my parents, it was not only the religious side of things, but it was their community. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they are still friends with, I saw Tom Lanham, who Mr. Lanham was, coaching me when I was in the first, 3rd, 4th grade.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
And they're still, what's that, 50 years now? No, 40 years now. And so it's, and they still have this group of friends that are from that. And that's how I think my Rotary experience is going to be. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to be friends with a lot of you guys. Well, unless y'all throw me out. But I think I'm going to be friends with a lot of you guys for, hopefully I live another 30 years, and get to call your friends. So I think the community side of it for me is amazing.
That's so cool. Yeah.
That said, what we do in that organization is unbelievable to me.
So we belong to Rotary Club of Alpharetta.
Well, I think on any given year, I think the last handful of years we've raised and dispersed over $500,000 back into our communities. Which I think is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Not to mention what we do international. I'm more the local stuff than I am international, I'll tell you. And people know that I'm a bias towards that. I started our foundation, and so I did that.
Oh, okay.
I did that with the intent of serving the local community. Mm-hmm. And so, but what we do internationally, we've got some folks in the club that have it's unbelievable. If you talk to Olga or Bob.
Yeah.
You need to get Bob.
Well, I got Tanzania going on. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you've got Tanzania. Look at all good,
plus local.
Good night. It's amazing to me. Yeah. The impact we have. We had one of the GRSP students stay with our family last year. It's 2 years ago now, which was really cool. It was a kid from Denmark, Maddie. He's unbelievable. And my kids still, they're still FaceTime with him, and he's just what a cool experience to have that for my kids.
Yeah.
And they got exposed to different parts of when I grew up, the world was huge, and I was scared of it. Mm-hmm. People are surprised. I'm shy by nature. And so it's,
that is surprising.
little bit. I've learned it's, being an extrovert is a little bit of a learned behavior.
Turn it on, turn it up.
Turn it on. I'm okay sitting in the corner by myself quietly. But I'm hoping that I'm exposing my kids to see how small the world is and how much of an impact you can have. I thought there was no way I could have an impact on the world. It was just too big.
Yeah.
I would get lost in that, and I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like I can throw some haymakers out there, and certainly my kids will be able to.
Yeah. I mean, I never felt like Africa, like I was called to Africa to go on a mission trip to Africa. Never dreamed it. And then I started consulting with Ubora, and the doors opened up for me to go. And I was like, "Ooh."
That's cool.
Yeah. And I had to get so many vaccinations, and it was just so many what ifs. And my feet hit the ground in Africa, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm home. It was crazy.
That's cool.
It forever changed me. I mean, I felt, how the Grinch's heart grows. When I kind of had that moment when I got over there.
All right.
And I love those people. I mean, they're just, they bring me such joy, and I feel like I have family over there, and I can't wait to go back. And I cry when I leave. It is a crazy thing.
That's
and just
awesome.
such an unbelievable blessing.
I want my kids to experience something like that. I want to experience something like that, but I think it'll be important. I'm waiting for my kids to get a little older. Maybe in the next 2 years, I'm going to take them to Honduras. Or I'm going to take them on some mission trip. Yeah, I want them to, look, we live in a pretty affluent area. Their commute, they go to a private school. Their commute to work is, we would very much live in a bubble. And so I want them to understand that's not how the whole world works. And I think they get some of that, but not all of that.
But we have needs right here in our bubble.
Oh, of course.
I was able to help facilitate a car donation to the Drake House just last week. And what an unbelievable organization that is.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's another one we support. We have, 2 apartments there, I think, we're responsible for, which is amazing. Yeah. Mickey Rogers does amazing work.
Oh, yeah. I heard he was building cabinets. So it's,
he goes in and refurbishes, all those when they need, somebody moves in or moves out. Mickey goes in there. It's unbelievable. That guy's just a workhorse.
Yeah. And I think, Rotary, a lot of people that are not exposed to it don't really understand, what is it? It is definitely a service organization. But it's social too. It's both.
Well, again, it's my community. Y'all are my family. And I think you need a village. Y'all are part of that village. Yeah. In my world, and when I first got in there, I was like, man, there's some. Like Mickey's a great example. I'm like, dude, that guy's doing everything. I suck. I haven't done anything. And I felt compelled. I love that. I think we have a special group of people in our club. I was a little bit. Do y'all have a secret handshake? Is it a bunch of old guys? What do we do? Sit around and drink coffee? And it is not that at all. No. But I think we've certainly caught a star by the tail and need to hold on and keep going.
For sure. And I love the diversity of our group. We have a lot of old timers that have been there for a long time. But then we have a lot of millennials and all kinds of professions and everything in between. And I think that's really, I don't know, I find that very attractive. I wouldn't want to belong to just a...
Well, I feel like it's the cool kids club, too. Seriously, in the community, you got half the city government a part of it.
Yeah.
Chief of police and fire. Public safety. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then we get shakers. And we do a lot.
And we get a speaker every week, and
it's fun. It's
to get to learn.
I enjoy it. I enjoy that. Like I said, it's where I give time, treasure, and talent, and will continue to do so until I guess hopefully nothing changes that I would change that. But
yeah,
I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, so we have Rotary sponsored events, which we do for fundraising and to engage with the community. I had Steve Beecham on. We talked about the concert series.
How amazing was that?
And so fun.
Right.
Yeah, so fun. So let's talk about Polar Bear Plunge, because you've stepped up to help that event, which is really very cool. If you can explain what it is.
Sure.
And how people can get involved.
Well, we got to give props to the city. So when I first brought this to the club thought I was crazy. They were like, there's no way this will work. No way. And I took Paul Slavic and Casey Robinson, And we met with Morgan Rogers, who leads Parks and Rec, and the pool was under construction at the time. The city was spending like $5 or $8 million, like something with 2 commas and a lot of money in it. And I pitched the idea to him, thinking there's no way they're going to let us have this. And he looked at me and he goes, Kyle, I want this to be the funnest city in America. I love the idea. You can have it. I was like, what? Like, it's unbelievable. Like, the partnership with the city has just been, I don't think you could do it without that kind of partnership. So we got to make sure we give props to those guys. But, we did it. We pulled it the first year. I think we raised close to 30,000, maybe 25,000, 30,000 for the Public Safety Foundation of Alpharetta, which was really cool. And people
Big
saw
number for a first-year event.
for a first year event, and people were like, that's insane. And then
So explain how it works.
fast forward 7 years. Last year we raised about 180,000. What I think we've done not the best job of for organizations is to help them understand that. Most people in Rotary don't like when I say this, but I don't care if Alpharetta Rotary makes any money from putting on this event. It's an event for fundraisers to raise money.
Oh, yeah.
And it's an event, it's an event to build community. And so we've set a goal this year to raise $500,000. I think it's $1 million event. People think I'm crazy when I say that, but wait, we'll get there next year, if not this year. And it's, if you're a fundraiser, it's just a different fundraising opportunity for organizations that maybe are out there selling, wreaths or cups of coffee or, and, we build we put on an amazing day of event. We build a website. Each team has a website that they can build team members underneath. Mm-hmm. We collect all the funds for them, and they get 90% of whatever it is they raise, which I think is unbelievable.
That is.
I mean, from a fundraising standpoint,
Yes.
for all the fundraiser people out there, they're like 10%. That's nothing.
Right.
Your average fundraising cost is 25% generally. And so Hazel's like, oh my God, I like him.
That's a good spot. Yeah, I mean, I've heard it's even, like you do a gala and it can be 40%.
Oh, easily.
You pay for everything.
I am, before I came, and I'm using this as an opportunity to help different organizations. I'm influencing different organizations to think differently. And so, great example. So the Georgia Roadrunners, it's a youth baseball organization, just signed up. I was talking to a lady this morning before I came over here, helping her navigate and set up a team. And they're going to raise money for their organization, but also for the Wounded Warriors Foundation.
Cool.
And so here I've got a bunch of 8, 9, and 10-year-old kids that are going to be jumping in a cold pool to raise money for Wounded Warriors. I think, frankly, that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
And so for them to be able to, I'm not trying to impart morality on folks, but if I can get I'm going after a lot of younger teams. If I can get them to partner and raise money for whatever. Yeah. And all these cheerleader squads should be raising money for Susie Komen or whatever the case may be. We're just the conduit to help them raise money.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be a pretty cool event. My long-term goal, and I share this with you, if I can share this, my long-term goal and what I'm really going after is I want to build a charity weekend in the city, which I think will be awesome.
And meaning Alpharetta City.
Meaning Alpharetta. Well, and then we could do it in any city. I mean, I think all cities should partner with a service organization to get this done. But imagine a Friday night, you do a beach concert, because he's proven he can do that, which would be super fun. And you do it, it's cold, and so everybody will be bundled up and, whatever. You'll have some sort of winter theme.
Yeah.
And then you follow that up with, you partner with the Coventry House, which is an amazing organization for the homeless in North Georgia. And you have kids and parents sleep out under the stars and you raise money for homeless youth in North Fulton, which I think would be pretty amazing. You then roll into Saturday morning where we do the Polar Bear Plunge. Saturday afternoon, you partner with your business community because you want to build community, and you do a winter fest, or you do like a winter market or something along those lines, which I think would be pretty cool. And then Saturday night, I want to host a snowball event where we do a black tie event, but you do it outside, Buckhead Betty gets to wear her mink coat, whatever, and black tie and do all that. And you do a pretty fun fundraiser. And then Sunday morning we do like a communal prayer. I don't know what I'll call it, but it's you call it something, and you invite all denominations and creed and color and everybody. And I think I think that's a
love that
really
vision.
cool event.
Yeah.
And I keep telling this to folks. I can't. We're bootstrapping the Polar Bear Plunge. I think I'm going to need some help with that one. So I just keep telling that vision to a lot of people, and more people are getting excited about it. We'll eventually get that going.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds amazing.
I think it would be pretty cool. I think the community would really get around that. Yeah. It'd be something that it would make us. I think we're already unique in the sense that we just have a very nice, amazing community. It's different, feels different.
Right.
I'm sure there's people in Poughkeepsie, wherever, saying the same thing, but I think we have something special here, and I think that just adds to it.
I agree. And I love the whole idea of developing something and then giving it away in service to other people. So if anybody hears this whole idea about Polar Bear Plunge, hit us up and we'll share the playbook with you, because it's really it's not a difficult event to implement.
It is and it isn't. It's actually going to require. I think we're gonna grow significantly this year. So we've built a team. We've got way more involvement than we've had in years past, with the intent, like, let's go build something really big, and let's make a bigger influence. I mean, imagine if we raise $1 million. When we raise $1 million in this community, the impact that has for different organizations. I think that's pretty cool. Cool. And so we'll see.
Well, and there's fun built around it. The day of the Polar Bear Plunge, there's chili competition and fire pits going, and so it's definitely a community thing. You cheer on your people jumping in the pool. Do you jump in?
I've made my kids do it. So I've thrown my 9-year-old and 11-year-old last handful of years. I'll probably do it this year. I did this. I stole this from a guy when I lived in Ohio. Where this idea came from is I lived in Akron, Ohio, and Kelly Pariseau, I think they're doing their 23rd event this year. I did the first two. He's raised millions over his time frame of doing it. They jumped for like the Akron Food Bank. And
I bet that's some cold water.
Me and his dad with chainsaws were cutting holes in the ice on the lake we jumped into. They had all these firemen in like these dry suits. That was cold. That's like, this is nothing compared to what that was. But it's I think, you know who Roger Bannister was? So Roger Bannister was this British medical student, burned as a kid, told he would never walk. Comes along and he's the first guy to break the 4-minute mile, like back in the 50s. What's interesting about that is they proved medically that it was impossible. So since the dawn of man, we've been trying to break the 4-minute mile. Back in the day, they gave people lion's milk, tiger's milk, thinking that'd make them run faster. Didn't work. They had the lion and tiger chase them. Didn't work. Lion and tiger got fed. Didn't do so much for the guy running. Modern medicine comes out and they deem it humanly impossible for the human animal to run the 4-minute mile. We were a 2-legged animal. Our lung capacity was too small. We couldn't blah, 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 all this stuff. And along comes Roger Bannister and he does it. What's cool about that story is, guess what happened the very next year? 13 people did it. And so I don't know, however you think we got here, I'm 100% confident 13 people didn't evolve. The only thing that changed was their mindset. And so that's the same thing I'm attempting to do with this Polar Bear Plunge. When I say let's go for $1 million, it's not like we couldn't do that. It's just changing the mindset of folks and helping them think a little bigger.
That is very cool.
So when we get $1 million, then it'll be nothing to get $2 million.
Yeah.
That's the hope anyway.
Breaking down those barriers. Okay, awesome. Well, are you ready for the lightning round?
Lightning round. Green. I love apple pie. Pineapple upside down cake.
My last guy was he's a little too thoughtful in his answers. But
all right, so
you
lightning
gotta be
round.
fast.
Okay, let's go.
Allman Brothers or ZZ Top?
ZZ Top. Texas, baby. Come on. Old ZZ Top.
Best advice anyone ever gave you?
I can't, never could.
Oh, what?
I can't, never could.
What? You got to unpack that one. What does that mean?
So having a mentality of I can't do something means you never could.
Oh, okay.
And so it's,
I can't, never could.
I can't, never could.
That's
I got taught by that in a hot summer day, building houses in Texas in the summer, in high school, actually. I always worked. My parents always made me work. And so I didn't want to work at a fast food place, so I built houses. Good life lessons from some of the dudes out there.
No kidding.
David Williams, I can tell you when he said it. I told him I couldn't do something, and he grabbed me by the throat and had a 16-penny nail gun in his hand, and he shot the thing off the top of my head. And he said, "Boy, I can't say half of what he said, but the gist of it was saying I can't." He said, "I don't want to hear that. Pick that up and carry it up." I was having to carry decking up that weighed as much as I did, and I didn't believe I could do it.
Yeah.
And I did it because he yelled at me and scared me. But what was interesting about it was what I thought was impossible actually wasn't. I did it. Now, I didn't do it. I did it once. And then he quit looking, and I just did it faster. What I did do is I carried one, instead of carrying two up at a time, I carried one up. But when I carried the one up, I did it faster.
Yeah.
Which I think was all he was trying to get to. But I can't, never could.
That's good. That's good. Biggest and best surprise of your adult life?
How much I love kids. I mean, being married and kids, and, I got married late in life. So I was in my 40s when I got married. I would have done, if I'd have known how fun this was, I'd have done it sooner. I don't know if that's the best answer of it.
No, that's awesome. Best part of living in Alpharetta, Georgia?
Everything. It's what an amazing business community. It's business friendly, service friendly, schools. Everything. What my kids get exposed to is it's just different. Yeah. I was talking about Tom Lanham before, and he was Burke, my little guy. We show up for rec baseball, and there's he's got a Major League Baseball player as a coach. My coach growing up couldn't throw the ball from third base to first base without it dribbling over there like 4 or 5 times. And I told Tom that story, and he got a chuckle out of it because that's true. It's just different. So you just exposed to a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. What is something people might be surprised to learn about you?
Surprised to learn about me. Petrified of spiders, don't like heights. People are surprised a little bit sometimes when I tell them I'm shy as I am. Yeah. I just generally don't do stuff I probably wouldn't be doing this if it weren't, for the polar bear plunge and wanting to get the name out there and supporting you, obviously. But this isn't my cup of tea, really. I don't like to self-promote so much and do any of that stuff. So.
But that's not what this is about.
I know, but still, it feels.
I appreciate you being here. Best part of being an uncommon philanthropist?
Oh man, I love making a difference. It makes me feel good.
It does.
Someone asked me the other day, like, what do you get out of raising, if you guys raise $500,000? I'm like, the pride that I did it. More than anything, I want to do it, I want to do a Guinness World Record. That's a bucket list for me. And I want it to be around something charitable.
Oh, that's cool.
Whether
Stay tuned, folks.
Yeah, no, I'm working on a couple of things. I tried to do the polar bear, but one, I didn't know how expensive it was to do that. But there were so many different rules. We couldn't do a polar bear plunge here in Georgia. But I was going to do it at Margaritaville. Mm-hmm. We only needed like 1,900 people. I'm like, man, in a city of 7 million people, I'm pretty sure I can find 1,900 people that want to be Guinness World Record holders, and raise some money. But we can't control the weather or the water temperature, so that didn't work.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, one last request. So the tag of Uncommon Philanthropist is let go. Let go, as in let go of your heart, your time, your money. So give me your most spirited, Tom Brady inspired. Let go.
Let go. Like that?
That was.
Let go. Hey, look, everybody has something to give.
Yeah.
Everybody, at whatever level. And I think you just become a better person and feel better about yourself if you give to something or somebody or something. So why not?
I know. And that's, the reason you give is not to get something in return, but that's the way it works.
Absolutely.
It's just,
Without
it's
question.
upside down living,
Absolutely.
It is the beauty of philanthropy is that it comes back to you, and it's a beautiful thing. And if we all do a little bit,
I'm
look at
excited.
the
I'm
difference
excited
we
about
can
your
make.
movement. I think it's needed. You know, there's so much angst and there's so much division around whatever. You know, you can politics or this, that, or whatever. It just doesn't have to be that way. I think most people aren't that way.
Right.
You know, the media makes us out to be, and when I say us, I'm talking both sides of the aisle, everybody, crazier than we are. Mm-hmm. We're not. I believe in the good of folks, and I love the idea of giving people purpose and a place to show that.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. So I love what you're doing.
Well, thanks, Kyle. It's been so much fun getting to
Yeah,
hang
I've enjoyed
out
it.
and
Thank you for having me.
have some coffee, and thanks for loving on my dog a little bit.
No, she's cool.
Okay.
She finally chilled out.
Let go.
Awesome. Let go.